What's up, everybody? Reed Wallach, host of the Early Read and a Rithmm partner, here to walk you through my two picks for the College Football Playoff Semifinals this weekend. First game up is on Thursday, Penn State, Notre Dame. And as you can see, the market pretty tight on these two games relative to my pressure run model. But there is a slight nod to Penn State, the slight underdog at plus 1.5. And I agree with it. I do think that Penn State should actually be favored in this game. So I'm a little bit more bullish on the Nittany Lions than my Rithmm model. As you could see, the caution flag is up, the little exclamation point. Instead of it being recommended with a green star, this means to proceed with caution. Don't tail and bet this blindly because of Rithmm. Now, I'm going to provide some analysis why I like this bet. I'm going to proceed with it, but that doesn't mean you should just tail this based on Rithmm leaning that way, but not necessarily green starring it. If you are going to bet it, be sure to do so with another reason. For example, as I'm about to get to, I'm going to use the Rithmm research tab, as well as things like PFF and advanced metrics to get to a final conclusion to take something like Penn State. And a lot of this comes down to when I go over to the research tab over on Rithmm, which has countless of different numbers that you could go through. A few numbers stick out as we see a power conference filter. I'm also going to throw in the Notre Dame filter as well to bring them up as they're an independent, but what you really see a difference is I think Penn State can win in multiple ways rather than Notre Dame, who I think has a pretty limited set of outcomes that can win. I think they could only win in a defensive-minded affair, whereas Penn State has shown they can win on the ground with Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. They can win with Drew Aller, who's looking like one of the best quarterback prospects of not this year's draft class, but next year's draft class when he comes out. As you go over to QBR, Penn State checking in 8th in the country amongst power conference teams. You scroll all the way down to 28th. Then you see mainly Riley Leonard and Notre Dame. Go over to things like tackles for loss. This is going to be a defensive-minded affair, low total. Who can put the opposition behind the sticks? A big key in my pressure run model. And you see Notre Dame all the way down here, below the national average of Power 4 plus them metrics. Only 4.6 tackles for loss. That's 42nd. Go all the way to the top. You see Penn State checking in 6th in that. So Penn State, I think that there are many avenues for them to win on offense, but also I think their defense could put them behind the sticks as long as Abdul Carter's on the field, and it seems like he's trending towards being available in the semifinals. So our first pick is going to be Penn State as a slight underdog against Notre Dame. Our next game is Friday night, Cotton Bowl, Texas taking on Ohio State. It's hard to find more market love for a team than the Buckeyes, who are now trending towards becoming an odds-on favorite to win the national championship, looking like a dominant force, beating Tennessee and Oregon by double digits. Texas, bit shakier, took a little bit to close out. Clemson had to go to overtime to avoid a meltdown against Arizona State. I agree with my Rithmm model, making Ohio State more than a touchdown favorite in this one, minus 7.4. So I agree with the minus 5.5 on the Buckeyes. And again, it's about the ways in which these teams can win. And I think that there's no scarier offense right now than Ohio State, with Will Howard chucking it around the field to freshman Jeremiah Smith and veteran Emeka Egbuka. Go over to passer rating. Best passing game in the country by QBR is the Ohio State Buckeyes, as you could see right there. Texas, not far off at 9th, but again, just you see Ohio State, just more avenues to winning. You go over to rushing yards. Look at who is near the top again here as we look for Texas. You're going to see Texas further down than Ohio State, about 30th. Ohio State flirting with the top 20s. Ohio State with Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins can move the ball on the ground, and then with this newfound passing attack that they've unleashed, you could see them winning, whereas we've seen Texas less than 3 yards per carry against Arizona State. You're going up against a veteran Ohio State defense. It's going to be a lot of third and longs for Quinn Ewers and this Texas offense. I just don't trust that they can win down to down, stay in this one. So I agree with my Rithmm model that Ohio State is this juggernaut. It's finally realizing its ceiling, and I think it could take care of a more volatile team in Texas that I don't know if they have the horses to hang with the Buckeyes, who, as we just said, looking like the best team in the country. So there you have it. Big Ten national championship on the way between Penn State and Ohio State based on my Rithmm models, based on my projections. So we'll see. We'll be back next week with a national championship breakdown. Best of luck with all your bets, and we'll see you next week.